So again, friends, good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to People Who Watch, where we celebrate our peers, colleagues, coaches, and mentors, promising or upcoming talents, and leaders in the community that never fails to inspire us to pay forward the goodness. I'm Ron Melendres, as John mentioned. I'm the Human Capital Learning and Development Executive Director at PwC Philippines. Now, for today's People Who Watch segment, we have our first awardee. They won the People Program of the Year by being a proactive company rather than being a reactive one. To join us as our guest for today's segment, we have the first Senior Vice President and Group Head of Human Resources of Rizal Commercial Banking Corporation. Uh, Friends, Ms. Rowena Subido is an accomplished HR executive with over 35 years of comprehensive human resources experience in both local and multinational institutions, 18 years of which is in the financial and banking industry. This includes strategic management of various HR disciplines such as recruitment, talent acquisition, learning and development, compensation and benefits, performance management, talent management, and employee relations. Prior to joining RCBC, she was connected with Citibank as Senior Vice President and Lead Human Resources Generalist. Before assuming this role, she was designated as Senior Vice President and Head of Human Resources for the Institutional Clients Group of Citibank. Early on, she also worked for Citi Financial Corporation, the Consumer Finance Division of Citigroup for 4 years as its VP and Human Resources Head. The rest of her HR experiences are in retail, distribution, manufacturing industries, and consulting. Ms. Subido graduated from the University of Santo Tomas in 1987 with a degree in Bachelor of Science, major in psychology. She also earned units for Masters in Science in Psychology, major in Organizational Industrial Psychology at the De La Salle University. She has recently finished her professional certificate in customer experience with distinction from the CX Academy. Ms. Subido is the former president of the bank's Council for People Managers from 2015 to 2016, and she currently chairs the Yuchenko Group of Companies HR Council. Friends, without further ado, our first guest for this afternoon, Ms. Rowena Subido. Good afternoon, Ms. Wen.
Thank you very much, Ron. Can you hear me well, Ron?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear, and I'm
All
very
right. Thank
excited
you
to
very
be
much
talking with you
for your
again.
generous introduction.
I'm actually very excited since the last time we talked, we said, oh, we might not be able to finish that in 20 minutes, maybe not even an hour. So we'll try to compress today's
Sure.
conversation.
Yeah.
So first off, for those who might have missed the awarding ceremony, in a nutshell, what was this people program about? What was the people program of RCBC that deserved the merit of PMAP?
All right. This is actually called RCBC Ready. No, so Ready means rapid empowerment and assistance delivery. All right. But in a nutshell, it's a workforce readiness program, which is really anchored on I would say really building business resilience. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So more than being prepared prior to the pandemic in terms of, I mean, all of us did this, no, like, clustering, spread prevention and safety and all of that. But more than
Right.
that, we were ready as early as 2015, no, in terms of all of our, pandemic plan, business continuity plan, etc. And to add to that, during the height of the pandemic, we have to really
Mhm.
think how we can actually retool, re-equip, no, our employees given the new landscape. As you
Right.
know, Ron, the business model has tremendously changed, right? So we
Mhm.
have to adapt, not to adapt very, very quickly during that time. So basically, it's really like, readying really our workforce, no,
Mhm.
in the midst, no, of all of that challenges during that time, especially in 2020. Yeah.
But this way, if I can backtrack, you mentioned since 2015 you've been planning for this. I mean, I'm sure no one anticipated the pandemic. So
Of
what
course,
prompted?
it's not the
What
pandemic
prompted?
per se, but
Mhm.
there's a plan, no? There's a business continuity plan
Mhm.
in the event that there'll be any whatever it is, whether it's a typhoon, earthquake, epidemic,
Mhm.
pandemic. I mean, all of those, no? So that's part of our business continuity plan, no? So in other words, we were really tested, no, at the height of 2020, when this happened, because nobody knows, di ba, what's going to happen next. If there will really be like, vaccines at that time, right? In
Right.
2020, nobody knows, no. But at least RCBC already has this particular business continuity plan in place, no, as early as 2015.
Can you tell me who the key players were during the planning, let's say 2015, and when the
Yeah,
pandemic
yeah.
happened?
Well, it is a collaboration of all of the business units. No, we have an RCBC crisis management committee headed by our, well, no less than our president, no, and all the group heads on the business unit heads are part of the RCBC crisis management committee. And for this particular program, this is a very, very close collaboration between HR and the risk, no, the operational risk group, where the business continuity team is part of. Yeah.
You mentioned that key piece of this program is retooling and reskilling or maybe upskilling people.
Upskilling,
So
yes, that's correct.
skilling. So how did you go about it? Like,
Well, we have actually introduced new programs, new learning and development programs. But just before that, Ron, no, I would just like to explain that RCBC, in terms of its L&D, has a robust learning and development platform even before the pandemic. But most of our L&D, as probably the same as the other organizations, most of our learning and development sessions are really like face to face, right?
right.
So all of those now prior to the pandemic. So what do we have to do, no? So remember the lockdown started in March.
March,
Yeah,
yeah,
March
March 2020.
2020. Yeah.
2020.
So I have to really tell my L&D, talaga kinulit ko, Ron. Tell my L&D team, no,
I
to
can
really
relate.
be ready, to really be ready to shift, no, to shift immediately kasi kailangan agile quickly, di ba? To
Right.
immediately shift and transition to a virtual platform, no? So, mabuti na lang, I have a very resilient team, no? So, as early as May, we were able to already shift. Even our external training partners, I've spoken to all of them and asked them whether they can also shift, right? Or they can also transition. Because otherwise, we will really be looking also for some other partners. But, they were also able to transition with us, no? So to speak. And by May, most of our, at least the continuing programs are already on virtual platform. And even the major leadership programs that we have to also transition. So that's the first portion, no? But as you have asked, how did you retool, di ba? How did we upskill? Siguro ang magandang example dyan, Ron, would really be like, our branch folks, no, our branch personnel. Remember that we have clients who would rather really go to the branches, right?
That's
Really
true.
going to
Yeah.
the branches, doing
Face to
transactions.
face. Yeah. Face to face
Correct, and
talaga gusto.
that's fine. Diba? I mean, that's a usual, a usual transactional activity of our clients. But at the height of the pandemic, we have to train our branch folks to actually also train our clients. It's okay to do online banking. Yeah, you don't have to go to the branch to do bills payment, right? Or do actual fund transfers. You can actually enroll in the RCBC Digital, our online banking platform, which is very, very easy to use, no? Very, very easy to navigate. So, ganon, ginawa namin, sabi namin sa mga branch folks, why don't you call our clients and teach them, no, how to navigate? That's just one of the many examples, no? And, but probably by the end of, siguro mga half of 2021, the enrollment in our digital banking has grown tremendously. And our clients appreciated that, you can actually bank from home very safely, right? You don't need to go to the branches and expose yourself, especially at that time that we do not have any vaccines yet.
Miss
So
Wes,
that's
I'm
one of
curious
the
about
examples.
that because it was during a time of great change, a lot of
Mm.
uncertainty, and
Mm-mm.
what you mentioned is aside from your people, assisting your people, you're also trying to assist your clients
Oh
with
yeah.
this one.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
wanted to know how was the reception of your people? How did you take care of your people? Because uh, it's them going through these changes, uncertainties, and at the same time, you're asking
Mm-mm.
them to manage your clients to also
Correct.
manage their
Mm-hmm.
uncertainties.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
So,
Of course.
how was that like?
Yeah, of course, Ron, that's really, I would not say that, it's a walk in the park, right? We,
Mm-hmm,
we definitely had a lot of challenges also to face. But at the back of our minds, all of us, no, in the crisis management committee, syempre safety first, right? It's our primordial concern, no, as far as, our employees are concerned. So that's one. So we just have to make sure that our branches are secured, are
mm-hmm,
safe to go to, no, even in the midst of the pandemic. So that's for our branches. But for our people in the head office, we implemented I'm sure kayo din, no, the work from home
mm-hmm.
setup, no. That's
Right.
our mobile and remote policy. And I would say that days or weeks, even weeks before the lockdown, we're already ready, no, in terms
Mm-hmm,
of like all the infrastructure. We have deployed like I think more than 2,000 VPNs already, no, at the time, so that our people will be able to access, no, anytime, at the comforts of their home, no. So in
mm-hmm,
other words, there's safety factor there, no. And then of
mm-hmm.
course, we also have to make sure that by teaching our clients, they'll be able to appreciate the efforts also of the bank to ensuring their safety as well. Yeah.
Right.
So that's
Mm-hmm.
parang two-prong siya, no, at that time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what amazes me, because a lot of some organizations really are, especially if they're not client facing, they just need to take care of their people. But in your case, you had this challenge of making sure that your people, those who are facing their customers, are
Right.
also helping the clients themselves adapt to these changes. Now,
Right. Right. Right.
uh, let's go to something more pragmatic. RCBC is a
Mm-mm.
huge company with
Mm.
considerable war chest and resources and experience
Mm-mm.
with VUCA environment. Uh,
Right.
but we have a lot of listeners here who might not have the same resources. What can be
Mm.
something from your experience that can be translated or put in place by let's say SMEs, small medium
Mm. Mm-mm.
enterprises?
Right. Right. Well, to begin with, you're correct. No, RCBC is a large organization, and you would say that we have the resources, no, to implement all of these initiatives that I have mentioned earlier. But of course, being a bank, we also have SME clients, right? We
Right.
have a lot. We have a lot of SME clients, and without divulging a lot of things, no, but we have helped, no, we have helped our SME clients navigate or transition or whatever verb you want to 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 say, no, during the pandemic, no. So as much as we could, we have really introduced care programs, no, for our clients, not just the SME but generally to the clients of RCBC. We have to make sure that I think that's one of our responsibilities as well, no, as the bank of their choice, right? So
Mhm.
we have to also be here to help them out, no. After all, the SME clients went to us, no, to for us to help them, right, at the time of whether they're opening up a business or whatever, etc. So at the height of the challenge, at the height of the pandemic, we should also be able to help them out, right, as
So
their
what would
bank
be
of
your
choice.
what would be your advice for them? Again, being more experienced in disaster management, in risk management, what would be your biggest advice for our SME audience who won't have the same level of resources,
Right.
especially
You
into
know,
people program?
Oo nga. Alam mo, Ron, if you're really going to look at deeply, no, our people program, it's not really, anybody can do it. No, it's not really as probably as expensive as some people might think it is, right? To begin
Mhm.
with, no, you mentioned about ensuring safety of our people. We even have not just the physical safety of our people. Um, Probably in 2021 when everything or everyone is already thinking about like when would this end, etc., etc. So, ang nagiging problem na natin at that time was mental health, di ba? Yung mga well-being, etc., etc. So we
Mhm.
implemented those. No, we implemented a lot of mental well-being, not just mental, but spiritual well-being, etc. Live webinars, and these are not really very expensive. Any
Mhm.
organization, any SME for that matter, can actually implement that, no? Or even probably the retooling or
Mhm.
transitioning. I mean, it's not really like a very expensive initiative, no,
Right.
to begin with, no. Probably the side of our digital transformation initiative. Maybe some of those are really kind of really for bigger organizations, but the people program itself,
Mhm.
it's not really so expensive. And after all, no, after all, any transformation, people transformation is the key. People is the crucial link, eh, di ba? Either, the people
True.
will dalawa lang naman yan, eh. They will support it or they will be a hinder to it, right? So they're just two choices, right?
I agree. And
So
if the
that's why
environment changes,
people
we
is
also have to make sure that our people change, di ba? As
yes,
the
yes,
environment change,
yes.
kailangan talaga tugunan yan. Miss
Oo,
Wen, I'm
correct.
getting ano na, warning, but I still have
Ah,
last
okay.
questions. Was there anything you would do differently? Anything you could have done more of or less of? Or what's the biggest lesson for you
Um,
in implementing
I
this
think
program? Yeah.
what we will probably the biggest lesson, and I would not even change that. No, is really like over preparedness, right? We have really over prepared, no, as far as pandemic is concerned. Number two is there's really genuine concern, no, of top
Mm-hmm.
management. Genuine, no, top to bottom talaga to. And the people felt it. You cannot fake it, eh, di ba? The people felt
Mm-hmm.
it. And number three is really the resilience, no, and the patience of the employees of RCBC. Yun talaga, those are really the key. In fact, I was mentioning it to you the other day that, this is our award, no, the People Program of the Year award. It's not really an HR award. No? This is really an award for the men and women of
Mm-hmm.
RCBC who were really tested at the height of the pandemic. But instead of, coming up with all of the alibis that I cannot do it or because, there's a challenge, etc. But, we thrive on it, no?
Mm-hmm.
And we flourish, no, in spite of the challenges.
Okay, speaking of thriving, last question actually, I'm
Oh,
getting
sure,
flagged na.
sure.
Let's talk about results. What's been the impact to your financials? How about your attrition, retention, or talent acquisition,
Right.
quality of work and life?
Uh,
Like, let's talk about numbers. How are your
right.
numbers?
Yeah, because after all, that's the metric, right?
Right.
So, in ganun naman eh, di ba? That's the result. So, in 2021, actually, at the end of 2021, RCBC net income, no, profit, no, rose to an all-time high, no. We have actually received more than 60 awards in the last 2 years, no, during the
Mhm.
pandemic. And our NPS score, no, the Net Promoter Score, I mean, just like any other, organization, that's very crucial, no, is actually great, no, in terms of the NPS scale. And of course, to answer your question on attrition, we ended the year at 11%, which is actually lower than the banking
Mhm.
industry attrition rate. So I think those are proofs, no, among the measures, no, of any organization.
Okay, final question before I
Oh,
know they're
sure.
already telling me that's what's next? What's next? How will you sustain
Okay.
it? Now, right now, it's about sustainability. How will you sustain this?
Correct, correct. Okay. I think I've shared it also during PMAP. No, we are here to really focus on building a new breed of bankers. We're actually building digital bankers. No, at this point, all of our programs, like all of our management training programs, have been rebranded. No, we call it actually Delta. No, wherein we are really looking at building a new breed of bankers. We're trying to remake the DNA, the core, the core
Mhm.
capabilities of any RCBC banker, as well as its mindset, no? And we have rebranded our RCBC Leadership Academy to an RCBC University, where we
Mhm.
have, aside from the Leadership Academy, we have the Digital Academy as well as the Customer Experience Excellence Academy. So those are the major programs that we have for 2023.
Thank you so much, Miss Wen. I hope we can continue this conversation. But
Yeah.
a lot of things to talk about. So in a nutshell, it's really about caring for your people, not compromising on safety, making sure that people are able to go with the change, reskill, upskill, retool them, and of course, the real concern coming from the leaders who themselves were hands-on in implementing this
Yes.
program. Thank you so
Thank you,
much, Miss
Ron. Thank
Wen,
you very
and I'll see
much.
you
Yeah.
again.
Thank you,
Thank you.
PMAP.
Thank you. Back to you, Joanne.